This is chapter 19 of Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach. And as you remember, they're on top of the peach floating around. They're all very happy because they're going to float around safely and it's not sinking. Except that this is what happens in chapter 19. "Look!" cried the centipede just as they were finishing their meal. "Look at that funny thing, black thing. That black thing gliding through the water over there." They all swung round to look. "There are two of them," said Miss Spider. "There are lots of them," said the ladybird. "What are they?" asked the earthworm, getting worried. "They must be some kind of fish," said the old green grasshopper. "Perhaps they have come to say hello." "They are sharks," cried the earthworm. "I'll bet you anything you like they are sharks, and they have come to eat us up." "What absolute rot," the centipede said, but his voice seemed suddenly to have become a little shaky, and he wasn't laughing. "I am positive they are sharks," said the earthworm. "I just know they are sharks." And so, in actual fact, did everybody else. But they were too frightened to admit it. There was a short silence. They all peered down anxiously at the sharks who were cruising slowly round and round the peach. "Just assuming they are sharks," the centipede said. "There still can't possibly be any danger if we stay up here." But even as he spoke, one of the long, thin, black fins suddenly changed direction and came cutting swiftly through the water right up to the side of the peach itself. The shark paused, stared up at the company with small, evil eyes. "Go away!" they shouted. "Go away, you filthy beast!" Slowly, almost lazily, the shark opened its mouth, which was big enough to have swallowed a perambulator, and made a huge lunge at the peach. Shum! They all watched aghast. And now, as though at a signal from the leader, all the other sharks came swimming in towards the peach, and they clustered around it and began to attack it furiously.
Can I see? Is that the shark?
These are the sharks.
Is that the shark?
That's the shark eating the peach. And there's the other sharks with their fins sticking out of the water. And that's the animal, everyone on top of the peach. There must have been at least 20 or 30 of them, all pushing and fighting and lashing their tails and churning the water into froth. Panic and pandemonium broke out immediately on top of the peach. "Oh, we are finished now," cried Miss Spider, wringing her feet. "They will eat up the whole peach, and then there'll be nothing left for us to stand on. And then they'll start on us." "She is right," shouted the ladybird. "We are lost forever." "Oh, but I don't want to be eaten," wailed the earthworm. "But they'll take me first because I am so fat and juicy and I have no bones." "Is there nothing we can do?" asked the ladybird, appealing to James. "Surely you can think of a way to get us out of this."
Who said that?
The ladybird. Suddenly, they were all looking at James. "Think!" begged Miss Spider. "Think, James, think!" "Come on," said the centipede. "Come on, James. There must be something we can do." Their eyes waited upon him, tense, anxious, pathetically hopeful. That's the end.
Yeah?
That's the end of the chapter.
Another chapter.
All right, one more, and then we go to bed. There is something I believe we might try, James Henry Trotter said slowly.
What's the Trotter?
That's his name, James. James is called James Henry Trotter.
That's his name. And how about Henry?
It's his middle name.
Middle name.
James is his Christian name, Henry is his middle name, and Trotter is his surname.
And how about James?
That's his Christian name, or his first name.
No, that's his name. No, that's his name.
There is something that I believe we might try, James Henry Trotter said slowly. I'm not saying it will work. Tell us, cried the Englishman, the earthworm. Tell us quick. We'll try anything you say, said the centipede, but hurry, hurry, hurry. Be quiet and let the boys speak, said the ladybird. Go on, James. They all moved a little closer to him. There was a longish pause. Go on, they said frantically. Go on. And all the time while they were waiting, they could hear the sharks threshing around in the water below them. It was enough to make anyone frantic. Come on, James, the ladybird said, coaxing. I'm afraid it's no good after all, James murmured, shaking his head. I'm terribly sorry, I forgot. We don't have any string. We'd need hundreds of yards of string to make this work. What sort of string? Asked the old green grasshopper sharply. Any sort, just so long as it's string and strong. But my dear boy, that's exactly what we do have. We've got all you want. How? Where? The silkworm, cried the old green grasshopper. Didn't you ever notice the silkworm? She's still downstairs. She never moves. She just lies there sleeping all day long, but we can easily wake her up and make her spin. And what about me, may I ask, said Miss Spider. I can spin just as well as any silkworm. What's more, I can spin patterns. Can you make enough between you? Asked James. As much as you want. And quickly? Of course, of course. And it would be strong? The strongest that there is. It's as thick as your finger. But why? What are you going to do? I'm going to lift this peach clear out of the water, James announced. You're mad, cried the earthworm. It's our only chance. The boy's crazy. He's joking. Go on, James, the ladybird said to me. How are you going to do it? Skyhawks, I suppose, jeered the centipede. Seagulls, answered James calmly. The place is full of them. Look up there. They all looked up and saw a great mass of seagulls wheeling round and round in the sky. I'm going to take a long silk string, James went on, and I'm going to loop it, one end of it around the seagull's neck, and I'm going to put the other end on the stem of the peach. He pointed to the peach stem, which was standing up.
Daddy. Are those the seagulls?
That's right, those are the seagulls in the sky. I'm going to tie one end of the rope to the end of the peach and the other end round the neck of a seagull.
What is that?
That's the ladybird.
Oh.
He pointed to
What is that?
Hang on.
There's a glowworm.
The worm is there. Look there.
That's a glowworm.
No, not the glowworm. That's just the worm. It's not.
What is that?
That one's the centipede. That's the grasshopper.
Is that the glowworm?
I think that's the spider. That one.
No, it's
Was that the spider? I don't know. That's the centipede. Okay.
Oh.
They all looked up and saw a great mass of seagulls wheeling round and round in the sky. I'm going to take a long silk string, James went on.
Is that the ladybug? This is a ladybug.
Yes. And I'm going to tie the other end of the string to the stem of the peach, and the one end round the seagull's neck. He pointed to the peach stem, which is standing up like a short, thick mast in the middle of the deck. Then I'm going to get another seagull and do the same thing, and then another, and another. Ridiculous, they shouted. Absurd! Poppycock! Balderdash! Madness! And the old green...
Who's Mandish?
Well, I think it must have been the centipede.
No, it's not a ladybug.
And the old green grasshopper said, "How can a few seagulls lift an enormous thing like this up into the air? And all of us as well. It would take hundreds, thousands." "There's no shortage of seagulls," James answered. "Look for yourself. We'll probably need 400, 500, 600, maybe even 1,000. I don't know. I shall simply go looking for them up the stem until we have enough to lift us. They'll be bound to lift us in the end. It's like balloons. You give someone enough balloons to hold, really enough, and up he goes. And a seagull has far more lifting power than a balloon. If only we have the time to do it. If only we are not sucked by those awful sharks." "You're absolutely off your head," the earthworm said. "How on earth do you propose to get a loop of string around a seagull's neck? I suppose you're going to fly up there yourself and catch it." "The boy is dotty," said the centipede. "Let him finish," said the ladybird. "Go on, James. How would you do it?" "With bait," said James. "Bait? What sort of bait?" "With a worm, of course. Seagulls love worms. Didn't you know that? And lucky for us, we have here the fattest, biggest, pinkest, juiciest earthworm in the world." "You can stop right there," the earthworm said sharply. "That's enough." "Go on," the other said, beginning to grow interested. "Go on." "The seagulls have already spotted him," James continued. "That's why there are so many of them out circling around.
P.S.
But they daren't come down to get him while all the rest of us are standing here. So this is what—" "Stop!" cried the earthworm. "Stop, stop, stop! I won't have it. I refuse." "Aye. Be quiet," said the centipede. "Mind your own business." "I like that. My dear earthworm, you're going to be eaten anyway, so what's the difference does it make whether it's sharks or seagulls?" "I won't do it," said the earthworm. "Why don't we hear what the plan is first?" said the old green grasshopper. "I don't give a hoot what the plan is," cried the earthworm. "I am not going to be pecked to death by a bunch of seagulls." "You'll be a martyr," said the centipede. "I shall respect you for the rest of my life." "So will I," said Miss Spider. "And your name will be in all the newspapers. Earthworm gives life to save friends." "But he won't have to give his life," James told them. "Now listen to me. This is what we'll do." And that's the end of the chapter. Now it's time for bed. Next chapter will be 21. And we're more than halfway through the book.
Miracle.